What's going on, guys? What's happening? Get this thing bigger here. Small. All right. What's happening? Renee's in there. What's going on, Renee? Renee Cruz. What's up, Chris? What's up? Custom Taylor One. He said enjoyed the last two videos. It's more evidence of NASA's cover up. No doubt about that, man. Oy, some of them are just extremely blatant, right? Unreal. Richard Mortimer, what's going on? 6 a.m. in the morning. Well, let's see. You shouldn't have to worry about it. I don't think you work on Saturday, right? Which is a good thing. Unfortunately, I have to. William Johnson, what's happening? You said, hi, Chris. Another week going by. Thanks for the last video. I appreciate it, man. John Beck is in there. What's going on? I can do this without this thing going crazy on me here. Let me do here. Live chat it. Easy this way. Lucky Mo, what's happening? It's a beautiful day in the Martian neighborhood. Oh, yeah. Won't you be our neighbor? Photography, Light and Magic, what's happening? Yeah, you got that right. Hi, Chris. Glad to see the corona's not got you yet. Well, you know what I mean? It's crazy, man. It's like went ballistic. Hi from the UK, Hawkins Daniel. What's going on? 420 Alien. What's going on, man? MG Toe. Yeah, MG Toe's in there. Yeah, you're right about that, MG Toe. Shit has hit the fan. Heath B says, what's up, Chris? What's up? X15's in there. 54321. All systems listed and checked off for takeoff. Alien Tenor, what's happening? He said, hello, hey, hello, Chris, and everyone here. Be safe in these trying times. You got that right. Oh, okay, Richard, you're working later. Okay. The old infamous evening shift then, right? Lucky Mo, he said, Chris, any corona at your job? Not yet. Not yet. We'll be talking a lot about this because it basically seems to be the whole thing going on, right? You know, even in the space news, crazy, funny how that goes, right? Layton Jones says, hi from Cardiff, Wales, UK. What's going on? Wave my hand over to you at the big pond, over the big pond there. Ian Lang says, hi, Chris from Glasgow, Scotland. What's happening? Hope you guys are doing better with this virus than we are. 786 Auto, what's going on, man? Good to see you in there. Stefan Langveld. Hey, all, despite corona troubles, I hope all will have a great weekend. Yeah, well, my job's been totally psychotic because, as you guys know, I've told many times that I work in a large grocery store chain, and I do all the ordering and stuff like that. So it's been absolutely psychotic. In fact, they want me to go in later on within a couple hours. I'm like, oh, that may not be possible. But so I might just, instead of going like 3 hours, we'll do like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So yeah, I mean, it's that crazy. You know, since this morning, has been nonstop. I'm thinking, okay, has everybody lost their minds or what? Graham Coward, I guess, Coward. I don't comment most times, but I do follow you. Top work as always from G3B16. What's happening? Well, I appreciate that, man. Appreciate you following along and checking them out. Dave Jones, you said hi, Chris. Hope you're well, and hello to everyone. Be safe and take care from the from the virus. Dave over in the UK. Well, Dave, that's all you can do, right? Just got to be careful. I don't know, Alien. I don't think they. I don't think they would because you said your question was, Chris. Do you think they could take take a sample of the COVID-19 into space and work on it there? Probably not because it'd probably kill everybody in the ISS, and that would not be good. But you know how that goes. You know, I think they have some kind of cure or fix for that, but when you think about how many people it's killed so far, but it's no different than the average flu, though, in the flu season, right? Um, it's more intense. I think they said it's well. Again, they might be hyping this up, but they say it's like 10 times more deadlier. But it's no different as how you catch it. That's the key. So, all right. Let me see here. Let me see. This thing just jumped on me here. Josh D, what's going on? I'm mistaken. Are we in an hour early? Nope. 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. Photography like America. Everybody stay the F home. Actually, good words of advice. You guys. This is the way we can control it. It's we the people. It's not our government. It's not the CDC. It's us. Stay away from a mass amounts of people, and you can actually decline this in a hurry. Oh, there it goes. Let me jump on this one here. Get this one right here. Let me see. Get that a little bigger. There we go. Pete's Vlogs in there. What's going on, Pete? Richard Moto, I've been checking out the Sahara again on Google Earth Pro. The number of volcanoes there is unbelievable. Yeah, that's true. I seen it a long time ago how many is there, and you'd be surprised. You're like, wow. But that area was probably very volcanically active at the time. You know what I mean? Pete Ferrero's in there. He says, hello, Chris. Last mod's viz was an eye-opener for intelligent life. The virus panic is silly. Careful anyways. Well, yeah. And like I said, we'll get into that a little bit deeper once everybody's getting on board here and everything else. Because I think there's a lot of panic or unwarranted panic. So we'll get into that because there's nothing better than actually educating yourself with facts instead of I don't know how many channels may be out here on YouTube. Oh my God, it's the end of the world or whatever. I don't know. But education is everything, and that's the biggest tool you have, right? Lucky Molly said, Chris, when you had the cold for 2 weeks, it might have actually been coronavirus. It's been all over the U.S. since January. I'm sorry, but was not recognized yet. For some people, it's just a flu or cold. Well, I mean, I think I've got another cold now, but that's because my son being in school and stuff like that, and plus I work with the public, so it's hard to determine what these things are. But it's usually followed by a fever. That's the difference between a bad cold and a fever. Or the flu itself, because you get feverish and everything else, right? But like I said, we'll get into that a little bit more. Let me see. Whoops. Photography like magic. You said if you went to the local Walmart and they were testing thousands of diseased people in the parking lot, would you shop there? Absolutely not. Watch Trump's latest live feed. What a joke. Well, the funny thing about it is my daughter works at one of those, and they were people went ballistic, all looking at these. They're like lining up for toilet paper, right? I'm like, what is going on here, people? If you caught the thing, you would not be crapping yourself for the next three years. But I think it's become now where everybody's panicking that it could be a pandemic, where it's like they're shutting down things. Now, in my local area, I know like Ohio and the surrounding states have already shut down schools, colleges, games, you name it. They're shutting everything down. Everything in the county that I live in, anything extracurricular for the schools, done. Schools starting Monday, done until further notice, until spring break, and then they're going to go ahead and assess the thing, find out if it's full blown. Because believe it or not, in this area, we have none. We've had a couple cases where they needed to inspect it, meaning test these people out, see if they do have it. But according to the CDC, we don't have it here yet. But I don't believe that because West Virginia and every state around it has it. And we have people come from Ohio, to here because a lot of people work at the Toyota plant down this way. It's on the other side, good distance from me, but it's almost near the Kentucky Ohio line. And these people, I mean, they come from all over the place. They cross the border and back and forth. So you can't tell me there isn't any. I'm not sure I believe all that, but there's a real-time map you guys can get on. I'm going to share with you guys. You guys can check it out. It'll tell you how many cases you got, how many people recovered from it, how many deaths there were from it, so on and so forth. And I'm going to give you guys some pages so you can, if you're not 100% sure about it and you don't know if you have the right source, to get the information properly, I'm going to share all the pages that I found for you guys if you're not aware of it. So. MG Tony said the virus is mutating and will wipe out 3/4 of the world population and we will be turned into zombies. Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. But the thing is, it's like the funny thing about it is, yeah, they go way overboard with this stuff, and they're like, oh my god, this and oh my god, that. Like I said, I don't believe in all that crap. I believe that you should be cautious, and I think you should treat it like any other thing, regardless of how severe it is. Once you catch it, it's how you catch it, and it's the same thing as any cold, and it's the same thing as any flu. Now, how severe it is, like I said, is a different story, right? But you just have to be careful. You just can't think, it's no big deal. But some people are really playing it up like, oh my God, it's the end of the world kind of crap. It's like, oh, please, people, stop. It's not like you people think it is, right? What was that? Oh, okay. There we go. Oh, okay. Alien 10. I was wondering why you were asking that. You said I was thinking some viruses behave differently in zero gravity. And that could be a very good possibility. I'm not sure of that. I never really checked that out. I was going to say, why is this thing buffering here? I just noticed, I don't know if you guys got a buffer on that, but mine did on the live feed of my other computer where I'm actually watching in, real time. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, guys, right? A lot of times, here's the thing. My doctor says, hey, do you want the flu shot? Every year I say no. Because here's the problem with it. Let's say your buddy Jimmy has it and he's had it for a month, okay? Well, not had it for a month, but he had it a month ago, okay? He's had this thing. Well, by then it's already mutated. So whatever vaccine they have to give you has now changed. It's morphed. So now what they give you does not work. So now they're giving you another, a little bit of that virus in that shot so that your immune system can build up and it can actually fight against. Well, wait a minute. It's mutated. It's no longer the same strain. So why are you getting this? Now, don't get me wrong. If you're the elderly and you need it, it makes kind of sense. But, they claim that, no, it doesn't, make people sick. And, every time you get the shot, bull. Because depending on your immune system, now you may get it and say, no, I never had them symptoms at all. Next person might end up with, I've seen people where they had like chronic, they actually got crippled by it. Or they absolutely get a full-blown, flu going on. So I don't believe that for a minute. They're telling you it's actually the actual shot they give you so that your body can actually build up an immunity. But what happens if your immune system is already weak? You got that bad boy, and you're going to be sick for like a week or whatever it takes for it to get out of your body. So I don't believe that crap at all. He asks me every time I go, nope, I'm good. All right. That doesn't mean everybody else should do that. I'm just saying that's the reason why I do it. I can't speak for everybody. Well, that's what they're saying, MG Toe. It's like they're saying, and you said, and this is just the first wave of the virus. Well, like I said, I don't. You guys I know a lot of you guys are familiar with Joe Rogan. He had the guy that was on there. I don't remember his first name or his name, and I don't know if you guys have seen it, but they had the guy from CDC on there, from the CDC rather. And he's basically saying, a lot of people are playing it down because there's only like a few people like in that state, or maybe 3 people in this state. He said, what people don't understand is just beginning. It's not even started yet, but it's spread very quickly. So this is the reason why, like in our area, they're shutting down schools. They're doing this. And guys, at some point, they may have a mandatory lockdown, meaning even domestic traveling. They might actually quit that, meaning say, enough is enough. We catch you out there unless it's an emergency. Boom, you're fined. So depending on the area you live in or country, they've already done that in some countries. Italy, full blown. All kinds of areas that have Iraq. They're actually digging out mass grave sites, because it's not so much that it's affecting people more in some countries. It's just they don't have the antivirus or the fix for that, a shot or anything like that. They just don't have something that will. Well, they claim they can't cure it anyway, or at least stop it at this point because they're trying to come up with some kind of vaccine, right? But a lot of countries don't have it, period, and they have no way to stop it. And they don't have as many hospitals as we do here, so it plays a lot of roles, many different factors, right? With Dog Andy says, I love your channel from Nottinghamshire, UK. Well, I appreciate that. With Dog Andy. Benson's Speed Shop. Hello, all. What's going on? Good to see you in there. Renee, Chris, your boss from Safeway needs you to go into work with mandatory OT and order semi truckloads. Well, believe it or not, it's pretty much happened. I had to do that. I went in there and it was like, I walk in and I'm stocking the aisles and I look at one of the aisles and I go, are you kidding me right now? Complete area, completely wiped, gone. No toilet paper, pretty much just roll of tissue, paper towel. I'm going, what just happened overnight? But yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. Not really, but I thought it was just like, what? It's funny. We were talking about, the profits the store made. And the woman looks at me and she goes, oh my God, did this store make this much money? I said, have you checked this aisle over here? She said, no. She looks down there. She goes, what the hell? I said, yeah, exactly. Well, that's what basically happened. So yeah. Yeah, photography like magic. You're right about that. You said get all your food. The shops emptying fast. Just effing nuts. Well, here's the thing. This is what I recommend. Because you want to stay away from people, at least large groups of people sneezing, hacking, coughing, whatever. The best thing to do is like I don't know how you guys shop, but we shop on the weekly. And what I told my wife is I said, well, this is what we're going to do this time. We're going to shop for 2 weeks. So in other words, there's less chance or less time to be in a store full of people, so we're going to try that. Of course, we know how that crazy that can be, right? Um, there's people have been going mental, uh, you know, just over the simplest things, man. It's crazy. No, hold on. Clerks 93. No, I haven't. I mean, I really haven't. And this, like I said, this week has been absolutely nuts for me. What's funny about it is, you know, uh, it's supposed to be the head supervisor of my area. He was on vacation this week, and then one guy caught some kind of weird. I don't know if what he caught, the cough or whatever. So it's basically me just about all week. Nobody helped me. No, nothing. I haven't had a chance to do anything other than try to get them 2 videos out that I was able to get out. Everything else is just focused on that, and then just work itself. And it's been tough to do any of that. To be truthful with you. Pete's Vlogs, you said they might close all of the streets and businesses here in Phoenix. Well, again, I mean, I can, we'll do this in a little bit. You guys can just name off the state, and I can tell you exactly. I'm going to give you the live, basically up to date, data what's going on with each state and how many there are as far as people that might have the coronavirus and how many people have been, recovered from it or even died. And I'll give you those pages and all the information, some other pages, so you guys can actually, if you're not fully aware of it, you can educate yourself with it. And the people who are already up on it, then you pretty much can just look it over briefly. But I think people need to know about it. I mean, it's something. It's just the education. Education is everything, right? And I hate to see people fall for some of the BS that's going on. Some of these, maybe being misinformed or whatever. I'd rather have people just look at it and go, oh, okay, I know what's up now. Because, like I said, between the CDC and other sites, then just read on it and it tells you everything. Richard Mortimer says, pretty sure before Moon Mars cover ups, we've been lied to about Earth's ancient history as well. Oh, absolutely. That's like a no brainer on that one. That you know, just look at some of the well, here's the thing, we gotta kinda backtrack on that because there's a lot of things we don't even know about, period, right? They're finding stuff that's now with radar, ground penetrating radar, they can see crazy things underground that they couldn't do prior, like many years ago, right? But now they're starting to see it. Now they're looking at every point of Earth and they're saying, what about here? What about here? What about here? And just like Antarctica, man, people are like, oh my God, there might be a pyramid up there. It might be this, it might be that. Well, I kind of go, well, yeah, because before there was an ice sheet on there, right? Or ice around there. I'm sure at some point it had, people occupying it. It's an island and a big mass piece of land that people were living on. So it's like kind of like under the no shit category, right? Why wouldn't there? Long before there was ice, I don't see why there wouldn't be people living there. Just the south of Holland is shut down. LOL. If they order pizza, it is left at the door. Look, and I believe that because they're like, nope, you're not coughing on me. Hey, see ya. Well, I think it's in Italy, right? It's like it's the law. Basically, you have to stand at least 3 feet away from each other. If you don't, it's like a $300 fine or whatever it is. But there was like last time I checked, there was like 680 deaths, 683 or something like that. That was last time I checked. I don't know what it's up to now, but if you really think about it, how many people live in Italy? It's like this is the reason why people are playing it down because they're like, oh my God, please. It was like, let's say there was like 5 people in my state, and they were, they have it. Okay. How many people live here? So you think the percentage is very, very tiny, but it's not the point. It could very well spread rapidly depending on how we go about our everyday lives and how we interact or hang out with people or in the middle of people. I just assume not be around a bunch of people at this moment because we just don't know, right? All you need to do is be standing next to somebody and they just sneeze next to you and you're done. That is if they have the cold, right? Or the virus. So yeah, you got to be really careful. At first, MG Toe, I thought people were nuts. I'm going, why would you need all this toilet paper? I mean, I'm not lying to you. I've seen people grabbing like big bundles of it. And I'm like, boom, one in this hand, one in this hand, two in this one. What are these people doing? But if you really think about it, if they do have a mandatory, domestic stay-at-home lockdown kind of thing, then people have to be in their house for 3 weeks to a month or whatever time that they, think it will work out, meaning less chance we get it to decline and stuff like that. So it makes sense to do it that way. But if they're just saying, well, I've got this thing, I don't know how it's going to react, so I'm just going to buy all this, it simply doesn't make any sense because when you get a flu, it's usually, you may vomit and stuff like that, or some people don't even have that. I've had flus before and it's just like a massive cold, right? Like super bad. Other than that, no. It just makes you wonder what's people. I mean, I've seen people get pissed off. In fact, my wife works at another store and some guy walks in there, he buys some stuff, and then he kind of gets this glimpse of behind the counter, sees like this hand sanitizer. Oh, they're holding out on us. It's like, so the girl that works there says, she looks at it and she said, looks at the guy and says, what are you talking about? That's for us. We're workers here. We need to be able to wash our hands because we're handling money and everything else. So the guys go, yeah, I know, but you got some under the counter. She said, do you want me to cough on you? This is the guy just shut up and walked out the door. It's like, stop. You know what I mean? It's just like, wow. People are just ready to jump, man, just because it's like, I don't know if they're just desperate or whatever the case is. It's like, people need to chill. Maria, what's going on? You say hello, Chris and Chad. Good to see you in there, Maria. Yeah, you're right about that, Alien Tano. Yeah, he said, so COVID 19 is testament that the ozone has repaired itself. Remember when that was a thing? Yeah, remember how that was like big blown as a hole and it's getting larger and everything. And all of a sudden now you don't hear anything about it. Crazy how that works, huh? Martin Ederine, you said, "Hey, Chris, did you get to take a look at the Facebook chat I started there with you?" Again, I haven't been able to do anything outside of work other than just like the other photos I had in my Photoshop. I was able to knock these two videos out for you, but it's been absolutely nuts. And like I said, they want me to even go back this evening, so it's kind of like, man, this is crazy. Um, I hate to see if there's an actual, something like an apocalypse go on. Oh man, you just better just bury yourself in the dirt and just not come out. Custom tailored one. You said everything is shut down in Oregon and Washington, including the churches. The health department is recommending social distancing, no more than 250 people in a group. Well, yeah, I mean, but you don't even need that, right? I mean, hell, you just walk into Walmart, somebody sneezes on you, and you don't even know if they've got it. It could be just a normal cold. And I think that's what I've got because, like I said, kids at school got it, and nobody's confirmed here yet that actually has it. Now, there's been people, I think there's maybe up to 5 people that might have had it, or if they thought had it. And I can look at the CDC right now. And they have all these little red dots, right? And they tell you where the area may have been, and there's not one. So they've checked the people, nothing. And I'm saying I find it hard to believe. I don't believe that, but so I'm always on guard just to make sure, right? Libby, you're changing your name more than I can. Wow. Third eye wide open. Uh, Libby here, new name. Well, what's going on, Libby? Good to see you in there. Photography Like Magic says they need to quarantine everything everywhere. That's the only way to it could be contained. America, Canada, and the UK. No, have you seen what China and Italy had to do? Exactly. Now this is what's really funny. At first, I thought it was amusing, and I thought it was like, man, how crazy are these people? I don't know if you guys seen that picture where they had it was a small child. I'm going to guess they were 5 to 7 years old. And what they did was they had like a mask on, like a double mask, and they had this 3 liter bottle, like cut the bottom off and just stuck it over his head, like it looked like a lampshade. And I thought, oh my god, how ridiculous that is! But is it really? Because somebody coughs or sneeze, not going to go in your eyes, not going to go in your mouth, not going to go any of that. But it's still ridiculously looking. But on the other side of the token, they're doing every desperate measure they can, and it's declined hugely in China. So, yeah. William Johnson, let NASA handle the epidemic. They'll cover it up. They'll claim we're just imagining it. Yeah, exactly. It's pareidolia. You guys, listen, this, this coronavirus is nothing more than it's pareidolia. You guys are just hearing and seeing things. That's it. That's what we can do it. Just overlook it. Yeah, I've seen that, Josh D, about Italy and everything else. In fact, they were talking about they had satellite views of, like I said, Iraq and everything, and it showed like on a typical day where there's people all over the streets, and you can see the little people like little ants, and then it shows on the left there's nobody there. All you see is like bare pavement, like in these wide open areas. Nothing, man. It's crazy. MG toe, yeah, that makes me sick every time I get the flu shot. Yeah, because here's the thing, right? If you catch it anyway, think about this a minute. If you catch the virus, let's say you didn't get the flu shot, but you get the flu, isn't it the same thing? You're going to get the flu shot, you're going to get sick and everything else. Your immune system is going to build up by itself. Why does it need a shot to do that? It's kind of like you're going to get it if they put it in you. Okay, your body's going to build up immunity, but it's the other cocktail of garbage they put in your body is not good for you. And you can look this stuff up. So I would rather not catch it. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to catch any, I don't want to be sick like that. I don't want to have that virus. I don't want to have the flu. I get it. I'm the same way as everybody else here. But if you're going to just put the darn thing in me to begin with, what's the point? I mean, doesn't make any sense. Robert S says, "Hey, what's up, guys?" And Chris, what's going on, Robert? Google Jungle Boy says, "I never had the flu. I think I had it when I was a child. I mean, it was brutal. I mean, I'm guessing I was like 7 years old, 8 years old. I got it. And I'll tell you what, I was sick, guys, for like a week straight. I couldn't eat anything. And Not 5 minutes later, boom, throwing it up. It was bad. I mean, it was like for a straight week. No matter what I did, I couldn't eat. But after that, I've had bad colds. Don't get me wrong, but as far as the flu, no. Robert, that's I beg to differ. You can. I've talked to some doctors. Now, some doctors will say, no, 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 you can't get it because they want to give you the shot. Um, because it's not like it's an agenda, but they what they're trying to do is try to keep you out of coming into the place, so they give you the shot so you don't end up sick. There's people I know that, listen, they're never sick, ever. Anytime they always get it, and they're not even allergic to. I know what you're saying, because I know some people are exactly, they're allergic to egg base. I got a buddy of mine who's a bodybuilder. That's all he eats is eggs and all kinds of stuff, and he gets sick every time he gets the damn shot. So sometimes the people say that, and I go, listen, I disagree. You know, now, some people may not get it at all because their immune system may be better and they're not getting sick. They may get maybe a cold and then they're over it. But it depends on the person, though. Yeah. All right, Libby. Yeah, you said I haven't been able to be here lately, so I'm glad to catch it live. Well, I'm glad you're here. Ashley says you can speak for me on that one. Not sure exactly what key thing I said, but okay. Renee's in there. Renee von Oosterhoort. What's going on? Hi, Chris, and all of the chatters. Just watched your last made video. Spectacular find, Chris. I appreciate it. Well, I mean, the more we look into this stuff, first of all, we're seeing the manipulation blatant, right? Now, somebody had said, well, what it may be is like an overlay of the photo on top of another one. You get the emulsion actually does that. But I'm saying, wait a minute, these are digital. And now I'm not saying that can't be possible, but it's too clean of a line, right? We seen that. I actually laughed and said it was a fog. I said, guys, we know this is no fog, right? And it's just too clean of a line. It's going around a couple pieces, going around perfectly and going up and around. Um, no, this is deliberate. This is not an overlay of a photo. Now, I'm not saying they don't overlay their photos, but that's not an emulsion. That's an actual blatant manipulation, obfuscation, as far as I'm concerned. Um, but yeah, not good. It's like I said. I mean, I looked at that. I went, "Wow, come on, guys." Mr. Gossman says, "Hey, Chris, a lot better, I hope." Yeah, I mean, I still got a little bit of a tickle, like I said, as far as cold wise, but we'll keep an eye on it too. That's the key, guys. If you get a cold, don't stress. What you got to do is keep an eye on your temperature. Your temperature is everything. You want to keep it down. And like I said, I'm going to give you guys some information about all that soon. It's like I said, everybody's getting on board now. By the way, hit that thumbs up, guys. There's 95 people in here, only 33 thumbs up. Slam it, hammer time. So I'm going to give you guys all of the, I've got like one, two, three, four. I've got 4 pages I'm going to give you guys so you guys can be, if you're not fully educated, by watching this, you're going to see this. You're going to go, okay, well, this makes sense now. I don't want you guys to be misguided or freak out or any of that crap because, I see a lot of people go, I'm not worried about that crap, man. It's like, when it obviously when it comes into our area, and like I said, you get a cold, it's a cold. You might even get a fever, okay, but keep an eye on it because they say what happens is you get a cough that keeps elevating. Doesn't get better, it elevates, gets worse and worse, plus your temp goes up and up and up, and it doesn't stop. That's where you got to be careful. What's going on? Lots of graphs. Good to see you in there. Robert Morgan. I made it, Chris. The VA gave me a flu shot and wait, hold on. This thing jumped on me again. Oh, where the hell did it go? Oh, there it is. And pneumonia shot, pneumonia rather. And I was dragging tail for the last couple of days. Oh yeah, I mean, the good thing about it is if you're up there in age, you should get these things anyway. To be safe because it does. I think people are like, oh no, no, you don't understand. It's only for people who are like 70, 80 years old. No, 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 no. You're being again misinformed. I heard is anything late 40s. There was a guy who was 54 years old that caught it, and I don't know if something bad happened to him, but he was definitely hospitalized. No, 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 no. Don't automatically assume it's elderly. That's not what that means. They're saying it seems to target people of older because of their immune system seems to be that way. A lot of factors could be people, and I don't understand this, but they say obesity. which, I don't know if it's because somehow it interacts with your immune system, but mostly because your immune system basically, as you get older, takes a dump. And this is the reason why they want you to take these shots, so that way you can better protect yourself. But, you know, don't think for a moment, if you're in your 30s and 40s, that you may not catch it. Your immune system might be trash. Now, I'm not saying to worry you. I'm just saying keep an eye on it. If you get a cold, fine, it's a cold. But keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on your temp. Keep an eye on it. And if you see it rising, go to the doctors, have it checked out. Mario.dk, what's going on, man? You said corona is virus. If it spreads slowly, you'll have a better chance to get treated. Otherwise, the medical system simply won't cope. That is why quarantine is important. Vaccines, when available, too. Oh, absolutely. But that's the problem. Most of these countries don't even have vaccines. This is the reason why we're getting more death rates, right? And and again, it depends on the amount of people in that area who's up there 80s, 70s, 80s, and 60s, and so on and so forth. But that doesn't mean people are that are younger are incapable of getting it yet. You know what I mean? So definitely have to get it, at least a shot, for that kind of thing. Total chicken pie soup says onions, apple pie. Sweet. We can go with that. Ian Lang, you were addressing photography like magic. You said of regardless of the situation Italy is in, essentially, or essential food stores remain open. Well, yeah, they got to a certain degree because you can imagine the kind of pandemonium that would break out because if you can't get food, not everybody shops, like a big shopping, right? They might do a small shopping and then find out, oh, by the way, you guys can't go anywhere. You got to stay in your house, basically on lockdown. Well, I don't have enough food, so therefore I need food. So you don't know if these people are going to stop breaking into stores and everything else. But there's places. In fact, there's a girl that works with me. She said that her sister just had a baby, and what she did was went in there, and the first thing they do is they checked her temperature. Basically gave her a checkup before she went into the hospital, and coming out of it, that's even weirder. I'm like, what? So yeah, that was crazy, man. And, so they're really being cautious, especially in areas that really don't have it. Again, my state, according to the CDC, doesn't have it yet, which I find hard to believe. But I mean, if it is, great. But I believe that's wrong. You can't be surrounded by other states that all have it, and you absolutely nobody. But again, they did have people who supposedly had it, but they checked them, they were fine. So that's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, and guys, you got to be proactive on this. Stay away from mass bunches of people. Now we're going to go shopping tomorrow. And I said, well, the thing is, if there's a bunch of people, I'm going to stay the hell away from people in the lines. I'm going to stay away from people that might be sneezing. Just do your part to try to stay away. And if you can, you know, uh, like I said, if you have to use gloves, I mean, the mask and the whole nine. If that's what you feel, if feel that you're susceptible more, then you should do that. Again, you got to be proactive in this. You can't just, I'll never get it, and then all of a sudden you do get it, and you pass it on to your kids, and everybody's, yeah. Trick shots, trick shots, not shots, but in reality, the U.S. economy was doing great because they pumped trillions of dollars, oh, printed dollars, I'm sorry, in stocks. Coincidence, oil price crashed. Next housing, I guess you put housing market, crashed like 2008 incoming. You know what? It depends on the bubble, right? It grows and grows and grows, and it's going to implode in itself as far as the housing stuff like that. We all know that. So and it seems like it's like this weird conspiracy because everybody says every time there's going to be like a new president or people electing a new president, it seems like we have something crazy. Just look back at the every 4 years, it seems to be something boom, like whether bird virus, swine flu, this, that, and the other. I mean, you name it, we've had it. So what really changes? What I find interesting about this, they said it started in Wuhan, China, and they said it was on one of these little food markets, right? And they said, well, it might have been a bat that bit an animal, this and that. And it says, it's all new or whatever. I was like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You're telling me that how bat hasn't bit an animal in X amount of time, but it's now coming out. this virus. I don't believe that. Somebody had said, listen, somebody they said that after they looked at this virus, I can't bet any of this. I think it's a bunch of crap, but it could very well be true. They said no, they actually have signs of it. It looks like it's been manufactured. It's not something that was naturally occurring. Because why didn't it occur many, many years ago? I mean, bats interact with animals, they bite animals, whatever, whatever. The bats live in their own, life, this situation, the caves, you go guado and all this bat shit, basically, all kinds of stuff. So, what changed up to this point? So all of a sudden, and then somehow a person got it and contracted it, and then all of a sudden, here we go. No, um, I don't believe that. And here's the thing, what's the best way to trim off a population? Well, we can start an AIDS virus. Oh, wait a minute, that wasn't manufactured. That was from some monkey or whatever. Um, but what's funny about it is it's like they got, you know, these things start off as supposedly, animal to, people, but it's funny because even this day, how many people has AIDS wiped out? Think about that a minute over the years. Now people are having babies. It's like a cycle. Well, people are dying all the time because of this, that, and the other, obesity, high blood pressure, whatever. And then, of course, you've got these flus and all kinds of viruses coming out, this and that. And come on. I mean, it's like they're trying to curve the population. And I think it was Dick Cheney that said that, we need to curve the population down to X amount of people. I'm going, so, I'm thinking, okay, we'll start with you and your family. That would help. But in reality, let's suppose for a moment, and you guys can answer this question. Let's suppose for a moment that you don't get sick. The only reason why you die, and it might be 70, 80 years old, that you die is because your organs and everything wear out and they just shut down and basically you're dead. Okay, so what would happen if nobody got sick up to that point? Can you imagine the explosion of people, the population, and the consumption of resources? What do you think would happen? Exactly, photography light, man. The Spanish flu of 19 had a fatality rate of 1%. This shit has a fatality rate of 3.4. Yeah, they were saying that because it was like they were rating another one too. There was like 0.006 or zero point zero 0.06 up to zero point zero 0.01 or zero point 0.1 rather, as opposed to, like you're saying, the higher number. I don't know if there was the average was 3.4, but either way, it's actually higher. So, you know, it is more intense than the average flu or this virus going around. But we got to keep in mind it still is caught the same way, meaning through sneezes, coughing, what they call it, like droplets from people when they talk or they sneeze or whatever. So it's passed on the same way as any other flu or any other cold. Be proactive. Watch what you do around people. Stay the hell away from groups of people, especially if you have people sneezing, coughing in that area. Okay, avoid that area. Just use common sense, right? Wash your hands. If you have to wear gloves, like latex gloves, who gives a shit if you look silly? The point is, at the end of the day, you take it off. See you later. You're done. Um, yeah. Ashley Walker says whistleblowers had this plan told 5 years ago. Well, like I said, I find it hard to believe it's all natural that these things come out. It's almost like there's a strain almost every 4 years or whatever. Something new comes out, right? Um, you name it, we've got it. They don't even have any, vaccine for this one at all. And like I said, even if they found it tomorrow, depending on the person, let's say a group of people it gets, whatever, it morphs, it changes. So the vaccine you got today may not work for somebody, a week later, and it could be in your family, right? But because it's morphed, changed around a little bit, then and that's what they'll tell you that they say they have a hard time trying to keep up with this because it does change and morph itself, and it just that's it, and it's tough to you know have it just stopping everybody, to give the shot to everybody, and it stops it. It's just hard to do that. So again, be proactive yourselves, and that can actually decline this thing in a hurry. Trippy Figueroa says, "Sup guys, what's up, Trippy?" Exactly. Photography light manager says there's a way to beat Corona. Stay that fuck home. That's a fact. Cosmic Confusion says, no, it's airborne and hangs around for at least 30 minutes. Well, I mean, it is airborne, there's no doubt. I mean, but if you sneeze, and if you ever seen it, I've seen people do this where they sneeze, and let's say it's sunny out, you can literally see the spray come out, and it just literally just drops down. Now, if you're in a well ventilated area and it's just kind of throwing this stuff around, this is the reason why you hear somebody sneezing and coughing anywhere near you, get the hell away from them, stay away from them. And that's what makes it hard to do because people need to go to stores, they need to shop, they need to go. Maybe you want to go out for dinner or whatever the case is. Got to be careful. Arlene S says, stay safe from Corona, Chris. Oh, yeah. We're going to try like hell. Trust me. Cora says, say goodbye to our freedom bit by bit. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. People like thinking right off the bat again, they're thinking, oh my God, they're going to have us on lockdown. Here we go. It's the start of the government. No, I don't think that's the case. I think it's like they're taking measures here in my state and they're saying, listen, the schools are now shut down as of this Monday coming up. No extracurricular, obviously. It started with that first, and then it was school shut down. The governor said, no, enough is enough. The best way to do is try to hit it head on first. Keep people from coming to schools and everything. So the less chance of everybody catching it, right? So if every state does their part, and I think there's only like 3 states in the United States that does not have it, us being one of them, and I'll check it in a minute. But yeah, it's crazy, right? Hey, Stas, 1AV made it. Hi, everyone. What's going on, man? Cosmic Confusion said up to 9 days on metal surfaces. I've been following all the studies since the end of January. Yeah, I mean, again, they say that you can have it up to 2 weeks, 2 days to 2 weeks before you even think you even got it or you even show signs of it. So again, be proactive. For disinformation, search the Wuhan 400 and in about 2020, I spent USD, what is it, 15 for the Christian Apocalypse book to check this info. Is complete BS, guaranteed. Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think I would laugh off the actual coronavirus or the COVID-19. You don't, again, it's definitely a fever. It's a, whatever. You just definitely have to be, just watch out. That's all. If you know anybody in your area. And it's like, they say like, if you happen to be, if somebody in our store has it, let's say a worker or something like that, at least in my wife's, they said, we'll close the store. We're done. They're not even going to take the chance. They're not even screwing around with it. Because what they're doing is they're looking at what they've done over in China, and they're looking at what they've done over in Italy and stuff like that, where thankfully, and I don't mean this because I feel bad for the people who have lost their lives to this, but thankfully we're seeing the models from over there, and we're taking action here before it gets full blown. And I'm talking about, it may be in every state, but I'm talking full blown period, right? Yeah, not good. So I'm glad that they're trying to do that and just basically have this thing. Yeah, it'll surge and then decline. And like I said, that guy from the CDC was saying something about, this could last from 3 to 6 months more. He said people are laughing it off, saying, "Oh, it's only like, people are saying, well, it's only 3 here in my state, 5 here in my state." But what they don't know is it's just beginning. So it can become much more blown up. So this is the reason why a lot of states are taking drastic measures to do that. So I'm on board with that as far as them doing that, because the faster this thing comes up and dies down, the better we are, right? Nobody wants to see their loved ones die from this. Nobody wants to see any of that crap. And that's pretty much it. MC Gamer, what's going on? He said, hey, Chris, the last Mars video, rather. NASA must think we are stupid, and with all of that cover up on the right-hand side of the picture. Yeah, and I've said the same thing. Like I said, I laughed about it, saying, and guys, oh, look, a fog. No, it's not. It's an actual cover. You can see the way the edge of that thing is literally, coming up and around, and the way it's so clean, the edge of that, and the way it goes around a couple of those little round pieces, or that piece sticking up as well. Yeah, that's crap. Lance Smith Blanco says, thoughts on Space Force or its Hangout, or this Hangout all about CV-19. I, for one, would like to give it a break and talk about something else. This is all everyone is talking about. I will stock up on the movies then. Well, as far as the Space Force, this is, like I said, to me, this has been going on since the 80s. If you ever look up the Star Wars project, They've been talking about this for years. I remember in the 80s, this was huge. They were thinking about either putting missiles on the damn thing, and this way they can just move it anywhere they need to and point it towards the country. Now they'd probably be into lasers, maybe EMPs, transmitters, stuff like that, because we're a lot more exotic stuff now, guys, and a lot more technical stuff. So we don't know what these people are capable of now out in space, right? So China wants to do the same thing. They want to put in, I think they said something like, what the hell was it? They wanted to have basically spaceships that look like warships you'd see in the oceans here out in space. I'm thinking, for what reason? So, I mean, if they ever come to, like an argument, let's say both countries, there's two countries that have an argument, what are they going to do? Blow each other out of the orbit? I mean, what's the point, right? You know, and then if the other one says, well, you blew mine out of the water, then the other country, they know at some point if you do that, it's just going to domino effect and you might as well just kiss the planet goodbye, right? Yeah. And by the way, you have to talk about this. It is a big subject, and I just don't want people to get misinformed about this. So I'm going to pass on these 4 pages to everyone who may be interested. Again, education is everything, right? Let me get this one here first. This one here I like because it not only shows confirmed cases, 132 cases, and this is over in Europe and stuff like that. Everything from, and we're going far east, Afghanistan, China. I mean, you name it. There's like 4,947 deaths. And it's got the real one. If any of you guys have, let me do this. I don't know why this is not like this on this one. If any of you guys have a state you want me to look at real quick, I can tell you exactly how many people who have it and everything else. And again, I'm going to pass this on you guys because you can have a look. So far, my state, nothing. Absolutely nothing. That's an example. Illinois, confirmed 32 cases, recovered 2, no deaths, active 30. So, yeah, pretty interesting. And you can look this up. It's like real time, right? South Carolina, confirmed 12, recovered 0. It's just still active 12. Louisiana, 19. Nobody's been, I guess, it's still active 19. So it doesn't say anything about recovered, none recovered. So here's a page to that. You guys can check this out and just keep it as a tab or just, bookmark it or whatever you guys want to do. This way here, if you want to look it up and not have to worry about the news telling you this, you can find this out for yourself. And there's that right there. Listen, everything you should know about the 2019 coronavirus and COVID-19. 2 different things here, guys. At first, I thought this is one thing. It's really not. And if you read it, you'll understand what I mean. I'm going to give you that page as well. Copy that. Paste it here. All kinds of good stuff. That's the one, that page there. It's from Healthline. Everything you should know about the 2019. This one here was from the CDC. That one I gave you guys, the map, is from the CDC itself. So if you're not sure about your local news telling you what's up and everything else, you'll get the real time there. Treatment for coronavirus disease, COVID-19. Tells you everything from treatment, what to expect, all this other good stuff. I'll drop you that link there. There's that link. And information for laboratories. So and it has like a list of things you can check out. Everything from protect yourself and family, higher risk and special populations, healthcare professionals. It gives you a whole thing like in professional stuff. Again, this is another CDC page. So I'm going to give you guys all these links. And yeah, you can take it serious, but don't go ballistic about it, guys. Again, proactiveness is everything. But there's the 4 links there. You guys can check them out. Take them, like I said, especially the ones from the CDC. You need to have those. Again, the first one that I gave you, the CDC, that one is real time for each state. You can actually go down just maybe not even quarter of the page, and it's right there. You can actually see, you can jump right in it. Ashley Walker said they closed the schools in Attleboro, Massachusetts. Yeah. Now, Attleboro, if I remember correctly, let me see here. Let me bring this back over here. Get rid of that. Now, they're showing in Mass is 108 confirmed, 1 recovered, 107 active. Now, where I was born and raised in Rhode Island, they have 5 and still 5 active. So it's good to have. Like I said, if you don't believe your news, because a lot of news, they like to blow it up to all kinds of crazy shit, right? Just look at the CDC. They can tell you point blank what's going on as far as reported cases and stuff like that. This way, you're not misinformed about it, and you can tell, right? Photography, like light magic. Did I mention stay the f home? Absolutely. Yep. Shannon Messina. Yep. Ohio schools closed Monday. Let's go here. So they are as far as those links. Good to have. A lot of I'll be truthful with you guys, and I agree with the other person just said that. Can we talk about something else? I agree. I'm so tired of hearing about it, and it's not that I'm not. It's not that I'm tired of hearing about the virus or the coronavirus. It's because of people are going absolutely crazy with this stuff. Like I said, I'm in work and people are like wiping the shelves out. I'm going, is this a hurricane that just hit here, or is it what's going on here? It's like people like they're getting themselves ready for the apocalypse. Now, can it get extremely crazy and like get full blown? Absolutely. So you should keep your eyes open for that, right? Yeah. How's the crafts? You said photography, light and magic turn. Uh, Wait a minute, just jumped up on me here. Um, I can't find it now. Actually, walk. Oh, okay. You said one student had it. Well, you can see what I just said as far as how many you've got. I think it was like 18 on that one. But so yeah, just again, just be careful. Iggy Mort, you put in. Thank you very much for doing this, Chris. Like you said, knowledge is power. Hope you are okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying the same thing, guys. Again, I don't want to see any of you guys get sick. I'm the same way. I've got a family. Last thing I want to do is see this stuff hit us. And so again, being just proactive, watch what you do, clean your hands, all that BS. And that's no different than any of the other day. I mean, if you're handling all kinds of stuff that people handle, you want to wash your hands anyway. It's just common sense stuff, right? Oh, no, no, Lance Blanco, you said, "No offense to you, Chris, PTSD veteran, here trying to take my mind off it, for a bit." I don't blame you, and, by the way, big thank you for your service. Um, you know, these, but, I see a lot of these people, and I've had this happen to me, what was it? It was in 2012, when everybody's, "Oh, it's the end of the world," da, 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 and people were asking me, and you know what? They're genuinely looking for this information. Now, when I was doing this, they were saying, "Oh, the end of the world," 2012. And I came on and said, "Guys, stop. Don't freak out." They said, "Is that true?" No. Listen, if you go down and you talk to the Mayans, and I'm talking about the real Mayan people that say, "No, this is the year for enlightenment. It has nothing to do with the end of the planet." Because and they're saying, "Well, because this channel said this and this channel." Please stop. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah. So this is the reason why I decided to discuss this a little bit. So yeah. Um, the quantum leap. Yup. Quarantine prep. Well, again, it's just like I said, just being proactive. The only message that says, imagine traveling to Mars for months in space, being bombarded with radiation and potential viruses on Mars, waiting for our Mars colonists. That's a possibility, right? And you can bet that's what they're going to be looking for too, because before they send these people, darn well they got to check for this. Um, they've been saying for a long time that they don't want to contaminate, um, Mars and stuff like that with you know rovers or whatever. But here's my problem with it. Wait a minute, we had the Viking lander in you know back in 75, 76. We had flybys and some of them that crashed into the planet. Now we have these hardy, these microbes or whatever living on the ISS out in space. Yeah, I think that ship has passed, guys. I think if we've done anything, we've already infected the planet. You can almost bet on it. Um, I believe that you can't stop that. At some point, microbial or whatever it may be, you can't check every inch of that equipment before it goes, and you can't, stop. I mean, you can do your best because a lot of these things are built in clean rooms, right? Um, And so it makes sense to try to keep that down. But to say to a totally eliminate, I don't think so. I don't believe that at all. Josh D, you said, when will NASA talk more about organics on Mars? I think that's coming soon. I'll be truthful with you. And like I said, we in our last hangout, you see where we pieced all of this together, and it just screams life. I mean, to me, it does. Now they haven't come out and said it. Yes, there is life. It's coming. It's getting to the point. It's coming. I'll be very surprised if we don't hear about that next year with the new rover going there. In fact, April 17th was it? I think it's 17th. I think it was the launch of this year, and then it'll be on Mars, and I think beginning of the year as well, um, come 2021. So I would love to see that. What's going to happen there. I have a feeling going to say, "Oh, we found something that's a growth that's kind of like a moss, but it's different from Mars. We never recognized it. We thought it was nothing, so we just kept rolling by and everything else." But I think they're going to say they're going to study. Oh, wait a minute, there is some kind of life here, and they need to. I mean, it's so obvious. With all the conditions on Mars, and even if it's only for a short period of time during the year, you know, giving off methane, giving off oxygen. Oh, there's a big plume of oxygen and methane, and we got all kinds of carbon on the plant, which plants thrive in. But then they're all of a sudden, in the spring and the summer, methane plumes, oxygen plumes. Wait a minute, what? And just the water cycle. I mean, the list goes on and on. Pascal V, you said, send me to Mars, LOL, no virus. It might be the best place for us. I'm with you on that, Pete. Let's talk Mars. Chinese lander on the moon saw ancient buildings. Shannon Messina says, well, here's the thing. There are structures on there. And if you guys look how terrible those photos are from the Chinese, just look at it. You'll see what looks like the lander looks pretty decent, looks okay. And then everything else is a complete blur. Why? Now, and I've done some moon stuff on that as far as China, and you can actually see that in the fog, if you break some of this crap down and get through something, you can see shapes of structures, what look like structures, and some kind of weird shit laying all over the ground there. No way, no how. I mean, if I was living there and my government said, "Oh, by the way, look at these new pictures from our lander," I'd go, "All right, seriously, is this a joke? Can you show us the real photos now?" Because basically you're taking the funding away from the people, and yet you're giving us garbage, and it's not even garbage, it's sub garbage. I mean, garbage is actually good. This is way down. Yeah, doesn't make any sense. Oy. Get something to drink here. Oh yeah. Pretty good. Let me see here. Nick Mad, what's going on? Good to see you in there, man. It's a great channel, Chris. I appreciate you. Where'd it go? Ian Wentworth, he said the whole of Mars is one big debris field or a smashed up civilization, but NASA wants to talk about organic molecules and gas. Well, see, this is what I think is going on. It's like they're trying not to let the cat out of the bag, because one thing will lead to another, right? It's like Pandora's box. So if you claim, okay, there is organics. Oh, wait a minute. Wasn't there, even if it was a natural catastrophe on Mars where it lost its atmosphere, there's organics, and it's not below ground, it's above ground. Okay, so what's up with that? So I think they'll find microbial life first. Then they might find macro, whatever, and then it'll lead up to like, ooh, little tiny plants sticking out of the ground or whatever it may be. They'll work up to it. Then you got to go, okay, so this plant life made it through whatever happened to Mars, and yet it's still alive. So what makes us think nothing else could be alive on the planet? And how do we know that there wasn't life on this planet? But being what we're seeing in these photos, it just screams to me there was intelligent life on this planet. And they try to disguise it to look like, oh, it's just hills and buttes and this, that, and the other. But you can see things like pipes and round things and stuff sticking out of. Yeah, wow. It's just crazy how much we see in these photos. And don't get me wrong, it's very disguised very well. You can look at it and say, oh yeah, I don't see it. It's just rocks. Look at it real carefully. I'm not even sure how to pronounce your name. Miu dot TK said, "Don't worry, all of the Mars pictures are most likely studio. I have no proof for or against if they even got to Mars." Yeah, I'm gonna say I got to disagree with you big time because one, you know, a lot of countries, if they don't like the United States, they can literally say, okay, we're going to look for this launch that you guys claim that you have. Now, keep in mind, these crafts take, well, at the time was taking 9 months to get to Mars, right? So, with a good telescope, and I'm talking about observatory telescope, we're not talking about like a little 10-inch, 14-inch telescope. We're talking about people can look and see that thing launched and then going out into space. They can see that. Um, so we know that they can easily track that and say, and if they say, "Oh, you guys said it launched," there's nothing launched. What are you guys talking about? So they could bag them that way. And the fact that we're seeing these things, and then somebody else said that too. It said the photos are faked, or I've never heard about in the studio thing, um, but when one person said they're fake, no. And the reason why I claim and I believe that they're not fake is because, again, if you were going to fake anything, you would make absolutely sure that the photo was complete. In other words, you could draw your own, basically, right? Make sure everything's completely false, meaning it's nothing but shale rock, it's nothing but boulders and everything else. But yet we're seeing these little things in here that do not belong there in these photos, and we're seeing them. And on top of that, we're seeing that they're trying to cover them to boot. So what's that tell you? So if it was nothing, let's say we looked at these things and never seen anything that was out of place, nothing anomalous, nobody'd ever make a channel about it. Nobody'd be looking at these photos. Oh yeah, it's just rock, man. It's awesome. We get to see a couple pictures of the Martian landscape. Beautiful. That would be the end of it. But when you look at these things, there's too many things, and I'm talking over a course of years. We're not talking about recent videos. We're talking about things even. Um, Let me see. JP Skipper has found, you know, Richard Hoagland. All of these people have found these things that were like, basically the people that started doing this stuff, right? What looked like lakes, trees around a lake. I mean, stuff like that. This stuff is real. It's on the planet. And when you see these photos, it'd be one thing, like I said, if you've never seen anything, but what you can see is like pieces and small pieces on top of it. You can see like intricate little details. That tells me no, this stuff is actually the real deal. MC Gamer, appreciate your support, man. Can I have a hoodie for free? I don't think they're giving them out for free, but but a lot of you guys have jumped on it. You guys have said that you received yours and love it, so I appreciate your support, man. You guys are awesome. And again, like I said, if you got the same one I got, I think it was the premium one. Oh my god, that thing is warm. It's awesome. And then I got the V neck, which is awesome too. It's comfortable, really good stuff. This thing stopped going all the way down. Photography like magic. You said, Chris, did you check out the over the other side of the panel from the last video? The whole hillside is all hieroglyphs with a question mark. No, but I have seen people have actually told me it looks like structures in the background. And if you look in the back, from that, well, that Butte Mountain, whatever that we were actually looking at, our main one, not the one to the right, but the one to the left, and they're connected. So. If you look, there's a couple white pieces in all of that. I'm going to call it gray static. It's basically noise as far as I'm concerned. And you can see like a couple white pieces sticking in there. Yeah, that's bits and pieces of something else. That's not actual landscape. That's something there. But they did a great job of hiding everything in the background except for those two little spots. Yeah. And a lot of you guys have said, you believe that some kind of ship or craft of some sort. And you may be right because keep in mind where the um, the rover is right now. It's supposed to be in a lake bed, an ancient lake bed. So if there was life there and it was full of water at one time, it would stand to reason they'd have some kind of craft like watercraft or some kind of ships or boats of some sort, right? It would make sense if that's the case. So um, you'll see a lot of times, if I read your stuff, I'll give you a thumbs up as well as the little heart type thing, is because I have read it and I agree. And sometimes I skip some because I go back to, oh shit, I totally forgot these. It's not that I forgot them; it's just because you guys are commenting so often that I don't even have a chance to see them. So I don't really get to them. I think one guy kind of got mad at me and said, "Oh, sure, you give everybody else a heart type thing, but I don't get one." I didn't even notice it because the second I got off there, he probably commented and I didn't even see it. So yeah. Exactly, Martin Ederveen. You said what doesn't make any sense is that Chinese are equally blurring their pictures, same as NASA, and you're right about that. The Again, I've said this before. Is like I believe that all of these space agencies are like one, like a united space agency, and I'm talking about the higher ups. I'm not talking about your lower, meaning for the PR for the public itself. Like we get the normal NASA people working, and it's for the people and everything, and then we get the higher ups, right? And I believe that the um, these people are working together. So clearly, if they are working together, they're all going to do the same. Do what you can to hide the stuff in the photo. Da 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 da. These people don't need to know. They're on a need to know basis. Let's not let them see that at this moment. So on and so forth. It only stands to reason. Every one of them is doing it. If you look at the ESA or ESA, depending on how you guys want to pronounce it, over the European Space Agency, you look at their mom spacecraft, their orbiter that they sent there. The first one they've done, where you can see like the whole, well, I'm going to say whole, but I say quarter to half of Mars. And when you put it in auto color and auto tone and auto contrast, I think it is in YouTube. I was going to say in YouTube and Photoshop. When you do that and then just tweak it a little bit, I don't mean the colors, but contrast, all of a sudden it looks just like Earth. Now, people go, it can't be. I look through my telescope, I see a red planet. Yes, you do. If there's a lot less greenery than Earth, and clearly there's a lot less oceans, we know that, you're going to see nothing but landmass from a telescope from this distance. But once you get up real close, you're going to see the areas of blue, green, brown, so on and so forth. And you can see there's an atmosphere. You can see it. It's right over the darn planet. They're claiming there's no atmosphere, but yet you can see a thin atmosphere there. So, and I've done a video on that and showed it clearly. You can see it. X15. I want the same. He said, I want the same style baseball cap you're wearing, Chris, in a size quadruple X. I don't know if you can get that, but yeah. Um, yeah. Now you're talking about the Mars anomalies and beyond type thing, or I haven't even had a chance to do that. I think a couple of you guys said, "Man, I'd love to get a cap. That'd be awesome." And like I said, it's weird. The site has where you can have everything you want: hoodies, shirts, which most people want, right? Everything from phone cases to whatever, which is cool. But as far as like you go, okay, I'm going to put the cap on there. So, oh, you're going to put a different URL on. What the hell is this all about? Doesn't make any damn sense. So, and I haven't had a chance to go back on there and get in there. But any of you guys had concerns, I was able to check this out for you because a couple of you guys said, "Well, I think I made the order, but for some reason it's not telling me I did." And then I told them it didn't go through, so they were able to do it, and they were, thankful because they wanted to make sure that it did go through, and they didn't want to spend money twice. But 99.9% of you people said no, it's been great, so we're good. H Toss 1AV, you said it certainly looks like a craft. Yeah, the way you guys have been explaining it kind of does. It kind of, if you look at it, it's like one of you guys said it looks like a ripped open hull of of the ship, and you're seeing the insides of it. And that could very well be a structure. Or it's not. It's just a hillside with a bunch of junk laying all over it. We don't know. There's no way to vet any of this. So anybody's guess is as good as mine. This is the reason why I give you guys a thumbs up and a heart, because your answers are just as good as mine. mine are no better than yours. And all we could do is just basically, you know, uh, we could just say, well, we believe it's this, but we can't, yeah, we can't vet any of it. So yeah, and it's just pure speculation. You guys know that. It's all we can do. We can see these items and say, "Wow, this in fact does look intelligently made," and that's what we're looking for, right? What they are, I guess it's the way you interpret it, the way you see it, and then you interpret it. But clearly, it's not actual landscape, meaning it's something on the landscape. Third eye open. I get some merch as soon as I can afford it, Chris. Might be a few months. Listen, I'm glad you're here. Period. If you can get some, great. It's appreciated. And like you said, you guys get a part of the channel, which is awesome. It's funny. I walk around with my shirt, my hoodie, and people are going, they're like looking at it, like, what is that? And they can see the plant and everything. It says Mars and Omni. You know, it's pretty cool. Max K, good to see you in there. I didn't even know you hopped in there. Good to see you in there. Ian Wentworth, he said, is the real Jimmy Robert is the real Jimmy in the house tonight? I haven't seen him yet. I'm sure he's been busy too. Lance Miss Blanco says, I have seen ships that belong to the U.S. that are just like what we see on the TV. A true statement. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple people, and I forget your names right at the top, and I don't think you're here, but they do comment quite often. And these people actually were captains of ships, literally, or sailed on these ships. They were parts of the crew or whatever. And they said, listen, I know these ships through and through, and a lot of you guys have been in the service, whether you're in the Navy. And they said, listen, I'm telling you right now, I can tell you, whether it be a gun, or whatever, the deck or whatever, I can tell. Those binding posts to put up against the dock, tie off on the dock. I can see it clearly. So they're seeing a lot of that. So it tells you what, are they just seeing things? What? No, I don't think that's the case. Photography light, you said it's not a butte, it's a structure. Yeah, I mean, when you look at this thing, it actually looks as a whole. Now, is it possible? Let's picture your house, just for argument's sake, it's been ripped apart by a tornado and it's just remnants of it, or a catastrophe that happened on Mars. Now, imagine having X amount of years with dust and dirt blown all over it. I think that's what we're seeing. Andrew Haberman, what's going on? You said, Chris, I wish you would look at my photos from the South Pole area of Mars. I have lots of photos from a huge city there, buildings everywhere of all kinds. Yeah, I'd like to take a look at them. I think you mentioned this last time. Did you have this? Did you send me some of these on the Facebook, or was it on through my email or a site of your own? I'm not familiar. I don't remember. Trying to remember, because two people have sent me this lately. They said, "Man, you need to check out my work. I've seen it, this, that, and the other." One guy, and I wasn't familiar with him even, to be truthful. That he showed me, and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And I checked it out. Really cool stuff. Really good stuff. Now I'm not sure if I'm mixing you guys up, so let me know. Ashley Walkie said, "Life is everywhere. It's meant to thrive." Well, again, there was a one of these recent photos that came out, and it was the Hubble. And what they do is they broke this thing down and made almost like a panorama, right, of the sky or the universe, if you will. And my God, when you can zoom into, you can literally download this thing. It's literally, I forget how big this thing was. It was in gigs. It wasn't even megs, right? Um, and when you download it, it took a little bit of time depending on your speed. Now mine, probably took 2 minutes, right? Downloaded. I looked at this thing. Oh my God! It's not only listen. It's not even just the universe. It's the galaxies. You can see these many galaxies in just one area. You can like just focus on one area, and tons upon tons of galaxies, stars, planets, you name it, it's there. And I'm going, so everybody believes that we're the only one, the only special planet that ever had life. Oh, come on. You got to look for that photo. My God, it's crazy. Alien Tenor, you said not many Doppler effect craters on on Mars, like there is on the moon, which suggests Mars' atmosphere burns up the meteor. Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. I look at it this way: when you see the photo, and I might even actually show you guys that when I had done the photo itself, because I got it on my external hard drive on these computers, and when you look at this thing, and I mean, and I even showed this down at the Mars conference down in Alabama. I said, guys, this is the photo they gave us. Okay. Now just do a simple correct, autocorrect, and everything else. I'm not doing any of this photo. Boom. People went, oh, you can actually hear everybody go, what? Because it's there. I mean, again, because the orbit is so close to Mars, it's literally, I forget how many feet it is or miles up it is, but literally it's like when you see it, you see a lot of brown, but there's green there and there's blues, more browns or like a reddish. This is the reason why from a distance you don't see the smaller blues and greens. They're like so minute or small looking from a distance that you don't see it. You see it as a red planet. But as you get real close to it, like an orbiter would be, total different story. TT Hurricane, you said microbials are common currency in the universe. It appears everywhere. Yeah, I mean, to me, I don't care if it's like regular plant life, like organics or anything. You know, there's at least microbial life on every planet, at least that. And if there's microbial life, it's got to feed off something. So, so on and so forth. There's like a little food chain up to a larger food chain. What's going on, Equalizer? He said, I have a photo from 51 that is very interesting. Can you PM me so I can send it? Cheers. Um, right now, hold on. Okay, now it's better. Yeah, I mean, you can actually do that if you want. Equalize. You can send it to my Facebook page. It's Mars Anomalies. You can send it there, and it just goes right to my messenger if you want to do that. At this moment, it's hard to do, but to check it out. But I will after I get off of this. Well, actually, I gotta. They want me to go back to work and see what's going on. If I could just restock a couple of things, but so that's why I say I'll make this one a little bit shorter. But it's still we should still go for another half hour at least. But yeah. So if you want to send that, you can, or marsanomalies at AOL.com. You can do that. Um, you said the life can be fungi, silicon, or something that we can't even imagine or recognize as such. And it's true because we're used to the life forms here on this planet. We don't know anything about other planets unless they're very similar to ours, right? Then you can almost find maybe similar life to what we got here. Can you imagine going onto a different planet that has different gases on it and the way creatures might have evolved? Can you imagine what that would be like? It'd be like some of these crazy sci-fi films you see. It's just wild. When you see that, you're just like, can you just imagine going on a planet that's, that they're going to do that? It's like, in fact, it just reminded me. Just as I was saying this, it just reminded me. They're sending a quadcopter to Titan, the moon Titan. Now they want to go into that and check out the atmosphere, and of course they want to, obviously get lower in there and check it out. That's going to be something to see, but that's not going to be until what was it, 2026? You guys can look this up, but crazy, man. It's just, again, they're curious. You would, I mean, curiosity is just how people are, right? That's the human way. We're just curious. But to me, it all started when they seen something on the moon. All you got to do is see something on it. Forget about any other planet, okay? If you went to our moon, our own satellite, and went to it, or just looked at it with a huge telescope and looked at it and said, wait a minute, that doesn't look like a crater. It doesn't look like a mountain on there. Nothing on the lunar surface looks like that. Looks like a structure. And you go there and you find, wait a minute, it's a craft, it's a structure, whatever it may be. And it's nothing on Earth has been there to make that right off the bat. That's how it starts. It's like now you're on this frenzy where, oh my God, there's life other than this planet. And that's how you start. Start off with what you can do, basically our solar system. So sending all kinds of, rovers, landers, flybys, whatever it may be. Now we want to send little quadcopters and all kinds of stuff. There's a reason for it, guys. We're curious because we're saying, well, in our solar system, maybe there's life there. We can check this out. Yeah, why not? But if they started here on the moon, that's it. Sky's the limit. Universe is the limit. Rick Rocker Graham, what's going on? I see you sneak in there as well. You jumped right in there. It's probably because every now and then it just jumps down me because this one here, I'm just backing up now. Iggy, you put on there, boats have to be built kind of boat shaped to float, and planes need wings pretty much whether Martian or Earth made. Yeah, in a sense, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, we have all kinds of shapes and sizes of boats and ships and everything else here, right? So anything basically you can throw anything together with 2x and wood and stuff like that. And as long as it's sealed up and the wood sealed and everything else, you can float the hell out of it, right? So it can come in many different sizes and everything else. And if it's a cargo ship, it has to be built that way in order to be able to carry the weight. If it's just to carry a couple people and, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. So, yeah. Melinda Noach, you put on there, it's there. We have seen it. There's life on Mars and there is or was aliens on the moon. And I believe that. I mean, again, just judging by the photos, what they've showed and the stuff we've seen in it, just crazy what look like structures, things laying on the ground. Again, it looks like it is stuff that was discarded. Like they used it or something crashed there or whatever the reason or why the stuff is there. They're there to check it out, look at it, analyze it, whatever. Take a million photos of it. Maybe they can take it apart and take photos of it. This is the reason why they come back with too much. It was film that they came back with. Then I think they kept on with these Apollo missions, even the ones that we may not even know about, and they started bringing stuff back. How do we know? Send us the bigger ship, and this time, or bring something that you can put like a piece of equipment or something of that, inside this case and bring it back. We don't know. Shelly Harding, you said, I do appreciate you and I love your channel. Thank you for your time. Well, I appreciate that, Shelly. I appreciate the kind words and thank you for being here. Rick, you said, I think it looked like a ship or possibly two. Well, you're not the only one that said that. A lot of people have said, well, it looked like maybe a ship and a couple other smaller vessels, right? Again, you just have to look at the whole thing. I was concentrating on, well, that fake wannabe, whatever that was, that manipulation that was done. Then I went off a little bit to the left of that and showed you the smaller pieces on there. It looked like little square structurals or whatever the hell they were. And then we jumped onto the main one. Now we could have kept going. That's the reason why I give you guys the link so you can analyze this stuff yourself. And as I always tell you guys, don't zoom in it too much. Get out your magnifier. Look at it carefully and look at the small little pieces there. And a lot of stuff it's being covered. Like they could put like a mesh type thing or something over like an object. Let's say it's a pipe laying there. They could put like a any kind of texture, right? Put over it like a light sand, make it look like a light sand. But the lines never go away. So once you burn around, all of a sudden you can see something like a pipe show up. You're going, what the hell is that? And you're going over the whole thing. You're not going over, like you could be going like this back and forth or just go over the whole area, just a whole swath. All of a sudden you see like a shape of a pipe pop out. You go, wait a minute, what the hell is that doing there? Because it's something overlaid that particular object. And now you're bringing out the lines and the shape of it. And that's what we bring out. Renee Van, you said, I myself think it's kind of a ship or warship. It's weird. A rock in the middle of nowhere, but can also be an island. Well, and then I want to touch on this too, because a lot of you guys said something about, well, it could be that you're saying something about a ship, but you're also saying that they're messing with our perception, like, the rover's there, because sometimes I've seen that too back in the past where they look like they superimposed the rover on it. So you're like, okay. Some people go, well, how do you think that's true? I mean, why do you believe that? Well, because you can literally see through parts of the rover. you can see like a rock. Let's say you got the mass, right? And there's a rock here to the right. And it's like you only see half the rock. But if you look really carefully, you can see the rock actually continuing through the mass, the head of itself. How is that possible? You shouldn't see that. And yet you do. So now that's not on every photo because I look carefully to make sure that it is or isn't. And that's what we're seeing. Um, but if it's not superimposed, then you can get a general idea just how big these things may be, right? Somewhat, not always. Greg McLaughlin's, what's going on? Good to see you in there, man. Evening, Chris from Scotland. Good evening to you. Let me jump way down to the bottom. So if I missed you guys, just go ahead and um, just give me a comment again. I'll check it out. All right, Equalizer, you said send it to AOL. I don't do social media chairs. Okay, I'll have to check it out. How long ago did you send that, Equalizer? So in case it's like a bunch of them, I can, because I'll tell you what, guys, there's sometimes I go in there, there's like 1,000 emails. It's crazy. Well, Dorothy, you put on there kind of kidding around because you said, vaccines cause autism. Um, and then somebody asked you, did you get the vaccine? You said yes. And you said, just kidding. But are you really? Because I don't know if you guys heard this in the news that there was a girl, I don't know if you guys remember, this was what, a year or two ago? That perfectly normal girl, I think she was in her late teens. Everything was fine. She's doing good. I mean, I think she was in school. I don't know if she's into sports, all kinds of, she got the shot. That's all it took. Now she's like handicapped. So whatever was in that, it really screwed this girl up. But yeah. David P, what's going on? Howdy from Texas, Chris. What's happening? Ian Wentworth, he said, we got to go have a look at the monolith on Phobos. Yeah, I mean, there's photos out there of it, and you can see what looks like this real tall monolith with a shadow. That's crazy how that is. Melinda, you said there's evidence that the moon seems to be inside out and it is hollow. There's no better place for aliens to hide than in plain sight or in the ocean. Well, if the moon is actually hollow, and that would make sense in a sense, because they can literally be hidden if they're underground. And how do we know? Because somebody said this years ago. I even said this, and we were talking about this. I was at a young age, and they said, or somebody said, I believe we could be like in a giant ant farm where these other beings planted like certain people that look like themselves, whether it be Spanish, African American, Oriental, whatever it may be, Asian, anybody, and they just said, let's see how they literally evolve right on this planet. And so we were put here to actually keep an eye on us, stuff like that, and see how we grow and evolve, like an experiment. I don't believe that's true, but is it really far fetched? I don't know. I don't believe that it's true, but it's something to think about, right? It kind of, I wonder. Peter Ferrero, you said there must have been technology in that vid for NASA to cover up so completely. Well, yeah, I mean, it's not an accident they put spot blurring. It's not an accident they put. You can see like sometimes digitization over these. You see like little tiny little lines like in a row where they take out something that has detail. It's no wonder they do this, or they dock in a photo. Well, that's because it was at dusk. That's why it was okay. Even if it was, let's say it was, we can still brighten it up. We can bring up the exposure and see what's in the photo. I think that purposely they bring down the exposure on these photos if they really want to hide something. So they'll do like a spot manipulation, a blurring, whatever it may be, and then they drop the actual brightness of the photo so it makes it even harder to see, right? Renee Van, you said, but Chris, whatever it is, but one thing is definite, not made by nature. We are tricked by NASA, but you are really an expert in seeing this manipulation. Well, it's a thing over years. I found this right, and when you see like you can never see like a little sand area, right? And you can literally see where they went up and then stop abruptly, like, and you can see like a complete straight line. It's like things like that, or like a blur, and you can see the whole object, but yet half it's blurred. You go, wait a minute, why is this part blurred? I can understand if the whole photo is blurred, or let's say you have your own camera and you take it and somehow you put your finger on the lens, you don't even realize it. Well, you can see that, it's a fingerprint and it probably takes up half the photo. That makes sense. Clean up the lens, you take the photo, you're ready to go again. But that same camera will take a picture the same day or the next day without a blur. So we know it's not a spot, something on the lens, and clearly there shouldn't be, right? Especially when it's on Mars. But why is there spot blurring and digitization and stuff like that going on, obfuscation? There's a reason why they're doing it. And it's no wonder that, these guys put these rovers down where they put them, whether it been the Sojourner, the Spirit and Opportunity, and now the Curiosity, and then now the one, what was it called now? You guys know what it is, right? Perseverance. The brand new one named Perseverance, that one's going up on 2021. Will be launched in April of this year and then landed there. So it's cool how they're doing this, and this one's going to have the helicopter and everything. And I hope they don't say, "Oh, the thing crashed and burned," whatever, because I'd really love to see the photos that's going to come out of this. But something's going to tell me, well, it miscalculated something, it slammed into the side of a rock, and now it's junk. Or somehow it miscalculated, try to get back to the rover to recharge itself, and it fell apart. I'm hoping that's not the case, but it remains to be seen. We'll have to see what happens. Good one there, photography. Like, there's an alien that lives in the White House. They call him Donald. Martin Ederveen, you said I read it on. I read it. It is not the vaccine itself, but the stuff they put in it, which is cow fluid. That is the problem. Well, I heard there's like a concoction of little stuff they put in it, like little chemicals and whatever. It's like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want that crap in my body. How do you know that the extra stuff they're putting in these vaccines, don't like crop up later in you as you get older and basically, make you die sooner or whatever the case is? Again, pure speculation, but how do we know? You know, good possibility, but Ashley Walker, you said, yeah, like we can't handle the truth. Well, they assume that you can't because if you go back to the Brookings report, which NASA had drawn up or written up, again, I've said this many times. Back in the day, now this is made in what? This was like right around 60, I think it was. Um, and funny enough, this is before the actual, you know, Apollo missions, right? But they came up with this and they said, would the average person be ready for contact from aliens, and how would they react? Basically, they're thinking social breakdown, religious breakdowns, stuff like that. And I don't think that's the case at all, especially in this day and age. I think back in the day, maybe because it wasn't so. I mean, now it's talked about like it's not even a big deal, right? You can throw this in a conversation and people can talk about it. Back then, they're like, oh, what are you talking about? And they'll get freaked out about it, right? So, I think back in the day that might have been an issue. Not in this day and age. I don't think so. Maggie Bolin said hello from the Baltic Sea. What's going on, Maggie? Max K said, "Hey Chris, maybe the people who did the obfuscating will spill the beans one day. Hope so." Oh, I agree. I mean, can you imagine working there and you're working on the computer and like I said, it may be like certain parts of the video, or I'm sorry, photo. And let's say there's a line of us because there's like 250 of these people working in this. So, you're going, okay, I'm going to go ahead and block this out. I'm going to make this a rock, this, that, and the other. And then I pass it over to you. And then you go, okay, I'm going to do this to this photo and make sure. And then there's probably proof reader, so to speak, or people that visualize and they look it over. Okay, that seems to be good. Okay, pass it on. Can you imagine the people that have seen it, like right from raw, and seen these things, probably going, "What? Oh my god! How did? I don't know how they do it." I think because they see, maybe because they see these things, they block them out, but maybe because they're not familiar with some of these pieces, meaning, is it natural or is it something intelligently made? Maybe this is the reason why we see some of this stuff because they're not blocking it all out. So who knows? Renee Van, you said, yes, I also see the manipulation, but you also see through it. Eagle Eyes Chris. Well, I mean, it's like I'm trying to get you guys to see this more and more yourself so you can recognize it with ease and then really scrutinize these because it took me a little time to figure this out. And the different ways they were manipulating, you had to kind of roll with that in Photoshop to try to counter it, if you will. I'm going to use it, I'm going to use that term counter or try to figure the tools to break through it. What you would do on the moon is different here on Mars. It's like it's the way they done it back in the day. Most of it was basically the way they sanitized those would they put like a white overlay over the photo. So you would actually see the capsule, but then you see it completely whited out. And then sometimes you wouldn't. You'd see it perfectly, pretty decent quality, right? So there's a reason why they'd white these things out because whatever's below the actual capsule was something you shouldn't be seeing, and that's what they did. But there's ways of bringing that out. So there's different ways of bringing this into Photoshop and bringing it up, right? Arts and Crafts says, please hit the thumbs up. Yeah, guys, nail it. Custom Tailored One, you said, I agree, Chris. People are more open to the truth these days. Well, to me, it just makes sense, right? There's so many movies out. There's so many, that we're desensitized to it now. So if you've seen something out there, you'd be like, oh, well, that kind of looks like what I've seen, like in a movie. You'd be like, wow, I mean, that looks a lot like that. That's weird. No, maybe back in the day in the 50s and the 60s, you would have been freaked out because what did they have back then? Yeah, they had planes and stuff. And even then, they were so crude compared to what we have today that, most people are like, wow. Um, but even back then, back in the 50s, we had the, top secret planes. We had all kinds of different stuff going on, all top secret BS going on, right? Was the XR-71, stuff like that. If it was made in the 50s, it was actually being blueprinted and printed up on probably in the 40s. So here was the public flying around these, prop planes, puddle jumpers, and they're just kind of doing their thing. And, we had jets, of course, but I mean, it wasn't like what we have today. And all of a sudden, you know, you weren't, you think about it now, you go, they had that kind of plane back then. Is basically invisible to radar. Wait a minute. Back then, how the hell would what? People would be freaked out back then. But now it all comes out because people, oh, I think they mentioned this about this plane. Now in the 90s, they mentioned, oh, by the way, if they made it non-top secret, everybody knew about it. But it was 40 years after the fact that they now come out with these spacecraft. So what did they have back then? What did they improve on back then, back in the 60s, 70s, so on and so on? What do they have today? There you go. Mayu Dot, you keep saying that, but here's the thing. It makes absolute sense because, you said manipulation makes no sense. If they wanted us not to see the Mars ruins, they just do these photos in a studio. No, they would just completely block them out, period. Because, like I said, if these are the real photos, and I believe that they are, now don't get me wrong. If I found out they were actually 100% fake, I'd blow them out of the water. I'd say that 100%. I don't believe that's the case. Now, again, how hard would it be? Like you're gonna manipulate something out, but somehow you see something else. Why would you leave that in there unless slow drip disclosure. Now, if you really wanted to, hell, you could block everything out. Nobody would see anything in these photos. So they're not fake. They're just being blocked. The stuff they don't want you to see. They're manipulating this stuff so you don't see them. There's a reason for it. You know, I mean, you're free to believe that they're fake. That's your prerogative. I'm okay with that. But to say that they're, that they would not allow us to see it or they'd have it in a studio, think about how difficult that would be to do in a studio. That's kind of weird. Because it looks too normal or too natural. It's kind of like they said about the moon photos, right? They said that was all done in a studio. Now, some of these things actually look like they were, and some of them do not. Why do I say that? Because when you look at these hills, now I just did a moon video not too long ago, where the hills are not hills what you think they are. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. And the stuff that's laying all over the ground is there. So it makes you wonder, okay, if this is a studio, why would they allow you to see anything in that photo? You have to ask yourself that question. If it's a studio, you would see nothing at all. You'd do the damnedest you could to make sure there was nothing intelligently made in that studio, right? Why would they allow us to see that? Actually, what God's punishment to mankind is light beer. Could be. Renee, you took off. You said, "Oh, so sorry, I'm back." Well, welcome back. Equalizer, you said the images are passed by 3 people to be censored, not 1. I don't know if you're talking about, like, the CGI department or whatever, but, um, like I said, these people, like I said, at one time, they actually said this, there was news, that they laid off 250 people in the CGI department. Wait a minute, what? This never made sense to me because if these are raw photos as they claim, okay, if they're completely raw, then that's what you should see. Like if I went out and took a picture with my phone or whatever, and I went and took a picture with it, okay, why would I censor anything? It's the real deal. I'm taking pictures of mountains, I'm taking pictures of trees, grass, rocks, an outcropping of rocks, the ocean. Why would you feel the need? It's a raw photo. It's the real deal. Why would you need to CGI anything unless you're trying to hide something? And again, if it was in a studio, it would be picture perfect. It would be picture perfect. Nobody in their right mind is going to go, hey, you know what, guys? Why don't we do the moon photos, right? And we're going to doctor these all up in this make believe stage. But by the way, why don't we leave some pipes in there, right? And some other gadgets, and then we'll manipulate them out. What would be the point in doing that? It would be easier just to show the goddamn photos. I mean, that just makes sense to me. And you know, if they're real, this is the reason why they're censoring them. It simply makes no sense to be on a stage. Now, I'm not saying none of the moon stuff hasn't. They might have done this because I believe there was 2 operations going on. There was the PR side of these moon landings and say, "Oh yeah, look at we're having such fun on the moon. Look at we're skipping around. We're on the moon buggy, ripping out and throwing rooster tails all over the place. We're just having a great old time." But in actuality, that was maybe recorded for the public, but what was really going on was totally different. And this is the reason why and the reason why this makes sense is that, like I said, the astronauts came back, completely somber mood, didn't want to be there at the press conference after these Apollo missions. There's no way you can go off to the moon. Ooh, wow, I can't wait. And your thumbs up and everybody come back. "Ah." Like you just wanted to kill yourself. It makes no damn sense unless they've seen something they weren't supposed to see and they cannot talk about it. This is the reason. You have to put these things together. And, it just simply makes no sense to be able to do that. I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name. Chris, you said, why can't anyone but NASA receive the signals from Mars? would be interesting to receive and see real live stream from the rovers. Well, the thing is, it's encrypted. It's heavily encrypted. You will not be able to see it. And I also believe that the rover itself, and this is by two people, one guy that works for NASA had said this, and I need to find that paper because I need to give it to you guys. I took it off the computer when I took my other computer offline and put this new one there. I put it on the hard drive. I need to find it on the hard drive. It's a good write up about how the rovers can actually manipulate some of the photo themselves. So I don't know if it has an algorithm where it says, okay, here's a rock. We know it's a rock. It knows it's a rock. And if it isn't, then it puts like its own little, like maybe like a digital data over it. So if it does get received by somebody else, they would see stuff that's been censored already or it's been blocked out. And then once it comes down through the DSM, the Deep Space Network, they look at it and they can just go click and it removes it. The computer that has a program that automatically removes it, or that it's so encrypted that it just gets here and they get the information in and then they just they look at the photos themselves. But they actually said that the photos there's a digital overlay over these, which I've been saying for the longest time. There's a digital overlay, and that the DoD is involved with NASA. They're trying to figure out why the hell are they involved, and why are they censoring these photos? Even they questioned it. This is a guy that works at NASA and asked that question. What? Yeah. No. It simply makes no sense, but it does. And besides, Chris, you would need these things, I forget, like they're 100 meters. They're very large radio telescopes, and you'd have to have something extremely large. And because it's parabolic, this thing is so precise in the sky to track. Like you can't have like your regular dish network. You know how like it's not like really concave. It's not really parabolic. It's almost like a flat panel, because the satellites out in space are pretty strong. Now, back in the day, in the C-band days, where they had these 10-foot dishes, stuff like that, they were more precise because the satellites back then were weak. They needed to use something really precise. Well, if you look at these Deep Space Network satellites, they're huge and they're parabolic. And I'm sure the receivers on these things are astronomical, like a boost on it and everything else, the best receiver you can possibly think of. And it's super huge and very deep dish for receiving these weak signals from Mars, right? So, yeah. Yes, Renee, the golden arches. Well, that's actually Neptune's fork, but yeah. Just flip it upside down. Equalize, you said, I think they blur out what they see individually. The stuff is missed. Their families are threatened, and their pay and pensions will disappear. It's financial and emotional blackmail. Yeah, I mean, and it's basically you would never be able to work for anybody again, because they basically either make your Social Security disappear and you're basically a nobody, like they try to do to Bob Lazar. In fact, they did do it to Bob Lazar, and then he proved that he is who he is. Yeah, that's pretty sad, right? But yeah, I mean, all they got to do is say, "Listen, guys, here's the deal." Again, I think they were debriefed, these astronauts, before they went. And they said, guys, this is what you're going to see. These are photos from the LROC, the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter Camera. We're going to show you these, and we want you to look it over. Wow. Ooh, okay, that's where we're sending you. And you're going to see these things firsthand. We need you to go over to these smaller pieces, pick them up, take pictures of them, whatever. And this is a hypothetical and pure speculation. However, once they got there, can you imagine them being there and they're looking at these things going, oh my God, these things are larger than I thought. They actually claimed there was spacecraft on the edge of these craters looking at us, watching us. Just weird. I mean, there's some of them actually said, wow, look at the lights down there. Look at those the structures or these cubes or whatever they said, these blocks. And he says, yeah, I bet those people don't get out much. He says, oh, it must be very desolate. Who the hell are they talking about? So I don't know if these people just can't. I don't know what the deal is, but I can't make it out. Meaning, as far as how these people couldn't get out if they live on the moon. Clearly, they must be able to fly around and do whatever. But for these astronauts to say this, and one of them said, "Oh, they're underneath us. They're underneath us somehow." So I don't know what the hell they were talking about. But when you look at some of these live videos, that some of them have like Apollo missions, like 11 and 13. and you can see where they're filming the astronauts, and when they go into they pan over, they see like a large block there, and they hurry up and pan back away from it. So what the hell was that? Just have a look at some of these things. It's really intriguing and pretty interesting. Frank Miklos, she said the fact that they are alter their photos proves that they are hiding something. Well, exactly. And it reminds me of the same saying, well, not the same saying, but a saying that somebody had said to me. They said, the fact that we're here on this planet, there's life everywhere else because we're not special. We're not like, oh, we're the only ones. I mean, looking at the universe and, just vast area, you just look at these other, galaxies and stars and planets and stuff. And you just look at that, you go, there's no damn way that we're the only one that has life. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. Lance Blanco, go to make a sandwich. Good idea. Yeah, but the difference is they've seen them go to the moon. Mayo. They've seen them go to the moon. And, keep in mind that there was people that were ham operators that actually could hear their conversation. And until they switched the actual frequencies to a backup channel, some people claim that there wasn't one. BS. There was a different frequency that they would literally go to because they would use like code words kind of thing, right? And then they would switch over to another channel, and then all of a sudden you wouldn't hear the astronaut. They just look like they were just kind of walking around. But there was ham operators that could hear these guys talking, and then of course they switched over. But it's like they blacked out the actual public, meaning they stopped the audio, but yet they could still hear it back and forth because it was 2 meter band back in the day. Do some research on this stuff. William Johnson said, "I saw the large block video. It looked like a base or step pyramid. Yeah, and they panned it and they panned away. Yeah, exactly. They would go like this. They would move it to the right. All of a sudden, whoop, they moved back, and it was like then they went past the lander and went out somewhere else. But if even when they pan away from that, just look on the ground. You can see stuff that's like ghosted out. And I seriously believe that video was it was basically subpar garbage. They were actually, in other words, they had a real good fine feed and then they had a shit feed. And that was for the public because, oh, yeah, there's a little bad technology back then. Oh, BS. These guys had something awesome going on back in the day. Hudson Craft says, I hate to be this person, but I made a new channel. If you guys like cats, please check it out. It's called Three Sphinx Cats. I'll link it in a second. Would be really appreciated. Yeah, we can do that. I don't know why that said hold it for checking it out, but all right. Hey, Cruz. Of course, I love filet fish, quarter pounder with cheese, Big Macs and sausage, McMuffin, egg, bacon, egg, biscuit, big breakfast with pancakes. I have those often. Those are pretty good. Big breakfast. Yes, they would say that. Actually, I think you're referring to the video. There was things like, "Oh, Santa Claus is real." They'd actually say that. That's like, what the hell are they talking about? You know, are they just referring to, "Oh yeah, Santa Claus, look at the presents we got," meaning, "Oh, look at the pretty rocks." Come on, like I said, these guys weren't up there for rocks. Um, Like I said, can you imagine being an astronaut back in the day where they say that? They go, "Oh, by the way, we want to send you guys to the moon. Are you guys okay with that? What are we going up there for? Well, one, namely because we're going to it's an experiment to make sure we can get there. But two, we want to check out these rocks that are up on the moon. Are you guys okay with it? What's the chances of dying? Yeah, we can't promise you come back. Sure, we'll go look at the rocks. Why not? Bull, flag it. I don't think so. Um, I'm not saying they didn't bring back rocks, but if you guys remember, they were saying that the rocks were BS, and it was like petrified wood. There was all kinds of, just silly rocks. Now, I'm not saying they didn't bring any back. They may have, but I don't think that was the main mission. The main mission was not that. Nobody's going to take the chance. You just want to look at rocks? I'm going to risk my life for that? Please. These guys got paid handsomely to go up there and do this stuff and find that stuff that's on that moon. Yeah, it's a crest. Let me know when you drop that. I'm gonna check out that for that your link you dropped there. Linda Boromir, you're actually addressing arts and crafts. You said, "Yep, in the glassing of deserts in Asia that happens when nuclear weapons are detonated." Yeah, they've been finding that for how long? This goes back hundreds of years, thousands of years, probably. And they found I've actually read on that where, what do they call that? Is it petrification? Or am I thinking of something else? Um, But yeah, I mean, you heat up sand enough, it turns to glass. So, they found this. Um, they found some crazy things in some of these deserts. And if you read like the Indian text and stuff like that, they talked about, um, you know, these giant cities in the sky firing at each other with weapons brighter than the sun and all kinds of crazy stuff. Really weird. Photography light magic. I like your response to Mags K when she says she's on a diet. I think everyone's going on a diet shortly. Yeah, may have to, right? Alien Tender, you said 2020, and NASA still haven't got 4K, 8K pics of the moon. But meanwhile, Hubble can see a stop on some aliens has 1 billion zillion, like, and that's true. And that's what I'm saying. They're hiding what's really in our neighborhood, right? Um, Come on. Like I said, as soon as they put the Hubble up, everybody's like, "Well, no, they can't really see any, things in our solar system. It's just made for exo solar system." I'm going, right. So they don't want to take a look at our own solar system. They just want to look at out there. The first thing I would have done putting that telescope up there was to look at every planet in the solar system, and you can guarantee that they have. They may tell you that they haven't, but I guarantee they have. And they could probably bring that, focus way back to the point where they could look at Mars and look right at the atmosphere under the ground, with like precision, and if there is no quote unquote atmosphere, you can bet they can see right down to X amount of feet on Mars with that Hubble telescope. You can almost bet on it. Yeah, you're not going to put something like up there so sophisticated for the time. Now they got the James Webb, I think it is, and all kinds of other stuff. But since Hubble's been up there, it's been upgraded and everything else. I think the optics was upgraded and some of the electronics and stuff. That was some years ago, but they did do that. But you can bet that these guys looked at every single planet and moon and can look right into it and say, "Wow, look at this shit," and seen some stuff. And they said, "Yeah, we're already trying to get to Mars. We're already sending flybys, but man, we can see this thing pretty cool, because I think the Hubble came up, what was the 80s? Did they put that up there? I think it was in the 80s. They put that into orbit. Sounds like a plan to me, William. He said, "I was thinking of pancakes tonight, breakfast for dinner." Yeah, well, that's what I was just saying, Andrew. Yeah, they should have used a Hubble to look at the surface of Mars. I guarantee they have. You know, like again, they claim that no, it was made for deep space. Da 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 da. Well, I mean, you can focus. Like I said, you can really if it was made to look way out in space, you can bet they can change optics or whatever, and so they can just like for a short distance and actually check out our planets. You can bet on it. Peach Vlog says, "I'm back." MC Gaming said, "Why don't Mars? I'm sorry, why don't NASA say Mars has a blue sky? What is the big deal? Why not? What is the big deal? Just don't get it." Well, again, if we think of okay, red skies. Now, keep in mind, back years ago, they said first of all, there's no water on Mars at all. Red sky, dead, cold, barren planet, nothing there to say. Now, at this point, let's fast forward. Now we have a water cycle. We have melting as well as reforming ice caps. Um, and all of a sudden they go, wait a minute, we've got methane, we've got oxygen spikes, we've got, wait a minute, blue sky. Everybody's starting to put these pieces together, going, okay, no, 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 shit. Why isn't it life on this planet? And like I said, there is an atmosphere. You can see it on the picture that the India sent up there with their mom satellite. And it was just crazy. It's like there's an atmosphere, even if it's thin, it's still an atmosphere, regardless, right? And you put all these pieces together. Yeah, there you go. Okay, you said Frank, I got you. Yeah, see, I thought it was late '80s, but yeah, I figured it'd be around '80. Well, late '80s, around the '90. Thank you for that. Equalize, you said barium and strontium. Yep. Well, I mean, if you look at it, just look up gases on Mars. Most of it's made up of like carbon, but they say, a lot of carbon is made up of methane. Okay. Um, but carbon is like a life for like organics. This is the reason why they say, well, talk to your plants and everything else because they give off oxygen, you give them carbon. Um, and that's how they thrive. Well, there's a ton of it there, so makes you wonder, I said, just stop putting the pieces together. Hubble has a tiny mirror. It cannot see that kind of detail. It is fancy, repurposed spy satellite designed to see Earth things on Earth, and yet it can see the galaxy. It can see the universe. So it's not just a tiny mirror. It's actually quite large. Have you ever seen the Hubble? I've seen it in an actual. They had the same exact model, same size. And everything. It's quite large. It's not as small as you think it is. Lance Smith Blanco. He said Roswell was a real alien, not a friggin' balloon. It was a meteorologist in the USMC, and balloons don't crash. Well, yeah, exactly. They actually said there was a crash, and then of course they redacted that and said, "Oh no, 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 it was a weather balloon." So you can see this right here. Yeah, no, that was the real deal. It was either this is what I think about when I think about Area 51. Right, two things happen because if you think about the date or the year back in the day, it could have been either an experimental spacecraft of our own, or it was in fact a UFO. Think about it. We had SR-71. What did I say earlier? I think I said something else. The SR-71 is what I meant. Okay, we got that. Again, it was probably blueprinted back in the day when they were putting it together, meaning writing, drawing it up back in the 40s. And in the 50s, they had this. Okay. And it wasn't until the 90s where they said, oh, okay, it's no longer top secret. We're letting it out. So, you know, these guys were probably experimenting, trying to make different crafts and everything else. There's no doubt in my mind. But who knows? Astro Kid, what's going on? You said Mars Anomalies fam. How the heck are you? We're doing good. I hope you're doing good there, Astro Kid. Well, like I said, guys, I mean, you got to have your reason to doubt NASA because they lie so darn much that you can, doubt that these photos are the real deal. Um, I would say they're absolutely fake if there was everything you can actually see it. Like, see how like we get the manipulation. Let's put it all over the photo, meaning almost everywhere you look, you can just see it. You go, okay, so, but again, the question would arise if the photo is fake to begin with, then why didn't you just draw it from make a digital drawing of it because you can do that, right? I mean, look at these sci-fi videos or movies that we have out that are so realistic, it's ungodly. So you know that they can make their own photos from scratch, probably. So you would think, oh wow, yeah, they can do that. Then why are these anomalies in the photo? Think about that a minute. And then on top of that, they're literally manipulating them out. And let's say, for argument's sake, everybody's right. Let's say they're complete fakes. Okay, then they still have to answer to the public because why are they putting out to the public? One way or the other, they're lying to the people. Now, based on what I've been seeing these photos right from the moon to now, no, I don't believe they're faked. I believe that they're hiding stuff that's in the photos that's really there. And you can see the backgrounds where they literally take out the whole swath of area in the back. Why do that? These are supposed to be, again, according to NASA, they have a thing called Z stacking. Now, I've talked about this before, and I'll make this brief because I got to go. But they have a Z stacking, which means is, let's say there's a big rock, an outcropping of rocks, okay? And then you get the background. So what they want to do is they want to focus in on that outcropping, take a perfectly clear picture. Okay, now behind that, we have mountains way behind. We want to focus in on that and get that crystal clear and take a picture. So, and then something maybe even further than that, we want to take a picture that clear as we can. Then what they do is they stack them so you have a picture that's supposed to be crystal clear all the way through from front to back. That's the idea of Z stacking. The problem with that is they can also put over something over the top of that, a digital overlay, and they can doctrine anything they want, just like they used to do back in the day. But they used acetate back in the day, and they would put like a piece of clear film over these moon photos, and they just blur out whatever they want, and then they make it, and then they pass it through a print or whatever they did, and it made it look like a real photo. So in other words, the original photo, the underlying photo, the real one, is literally in the photo. It's the trash that's over it that you got to be careful of. This is the reason why they're real. They're not all fake. Now, again, you're free to believe that, but that's not the truth. Just read up on this stuff more and more, and you'll see exactly what they did and how they're going about it. Cloudy with a chance of UFOs. You must have just popped in there. I haven't seen you in there. But again, every now and then I'll go to move and the whole darn thing would drop. So yeah. Ashley Walker. What kind of balloon leaves a crash line miles long? A very heavy balloon. Something steel. Oh, we weren't supposed to say that, were we? Astro Kid, you're right about that. The Hubble is designed to take distant photos in different spectrums. You're right about that. Like, they want to see as far as like an area that's cold, maybe warmer, whatever. So on different wavelengths, you're right. But that doesn't mean that they couldn't actually bring back the focal point of that particular telescope on there and take photos of even the outermost planets in our solar system. I believe they could do it. Now, they might have done that and then did away with it and said, okay, from now on, it's just strictly for exosolar system. In other words, way, way out. I just find it hard to believe they could put something out there like that and not be able to look at our own planets. Not that they'd have to, because if you send flybys, clearly you'll see decent photos of whatever it is, right? Yeah, exactly. You said Hubble's primary mirror is 2.4 meters or 7 feet, 10 inches across. Now, I want you to envision this thing. You go, okay, so it's almost 8 feet, no atmosphere. There's nothing to distort the photos that thing will take. Now, if they can zoom in, whatever, let an X amount of light in, whatever they do, you can almost guarantee they can see the planet very, very close up and probably right into almost to the ground. You can almost guarantee it. And if only with that 7 feet or almost 8 feet of telescope itself, or the mirror, okay, and yet they can see way the hell out in space. Think about that. Because again, there's no atmospheric distortion at all. Renee, that question's easy. Just drink 8 ounces of water. He said, my stomach is grumbling. But when you're on a diet, how do you stop the grumbling, Mags? Yeah, you want to do that. You want to stay on your diet. Just drink 8 ounces of water before you eat. It'll help fill you up, and just smaller portions. You'll be all right. Your Highness, what's going on? Good to see you in there. William Johnson, I'm not sure. You said Joe White of Art Alien had a supposed crash photo that turned out to be a crash photo from Roswell, but it became evident it was a SR-71 Blackbird. Was that the cover up? Now, that's what I'm saying. It might have been because I remember reading about that a while back, and it may have been something that was experimental back in the day for us, and that's what we're seeing. But that doesn't mean that they can say, well, that doesn't mean that something else hasn't crashed here at one point, and they're just using that. Oh yeah, yeah, that was it. Well, you got us. We screwed up. It was a test plane. Blah 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 blah. But that doesn't mean there wasn't an actual Area 51 one as far as a crash, right? So he's equalizer, sir. I must be going. Be in touch. Good night, all. Cloudy with a chance of UFOs. It's funny how all of this stuff from space happened, and now we're getting coronavirus. Are they trying to get us to stop looking out there and distracting everyone with a virus? Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's going to keep everybody focused, right? So it kind of is. Everybody's focused on this and that, and what's going on in the news, the election, whatever. And I don't watch a whole lot of TV, guys. I'll be lucky if I watch an hour of TV a week. That's no BS. I might watch the weather real quick on maybe the news, and I'm done with it. I come to work and then I'm on this. Of course, I'll go out and do my other things like exercise or whatever. But most of this is like I don't even watch TV. I go right above my head here. And I don't even watch it. Astro Kid, I agree with you. You said hate news and all the scare tactics. Absolutely. And a lot of it's, like you said, is this virus thing going on. And it's like, and people are, oh my God, I'm worried. And this is the reason why people are bum rushing everything in the stores and everything. So, yeah, crazy, right? Andrew Haberman, you said, can they not just point the Hubble at Mars and look at the spacecraft they may be going around the planet? Well, to me, I believe they can. And now they may have done it when they very first put that thing up there, and then just said, "Okay, we're good. We looked at everything we need to do, and that's for now on. We just look at the universe itself, right?" I mean, they're seeing stuff that's I mean, light millions of light years away. We're talking nebulas and all kinds of crazy shit. Um, all these galaxies, distant galaxies you can see. I mean, it's like in a small swath of land. It's like, well, I said land, but the universe or space. And you can see all these little galaxies and suns and stars and holy shit. I mean, just so much stuff out there in just one little area. But like I said, I strongly believe that they were literally, they can literally pull back on that and actually look at every planet in here, and they can see it with such great detail. It's not even funny. They did it with Mars. Now they didn't zoom into the planet, but look at it's actually crystal clear. You put Hubble, just Google it, Hubble space photos or photos of Mars, and you can see a lot of them look red. Some of them had the greenish, bluish, and all this other shit with the caps shrinking in the warmer seasons and then expanding in the colder. So they can do it. I almost guarantee it. And if that was the case, why aren't they so distorted? It's not even funny, but yet they can. They pulled back enough to see Mars, so they can do it. How's it, Crosses? Thank you for what you do, Chris. Everybody hit that like button. That's right, hammer time. Hit that bad boy. MC Gamer, you said we will find a shitload of structures on Titan. When we get a rover up there. Well, again, they're going to send this quadcopter up there. Now, it may be quite large. We don't know, right? But I can imagine what that thing would be flying around, and it probably only has X amount of time to fly. And maybe they'll land it there and get whatever sun, but I doubt it. It probably has like a good sized capacity battery. It'll probably be charged until it gets there. It'll take all kinds of pictures and everything where they think their interested area is, and then it'll just crash and it'll be the end of it, right? It'd be interesting to see that. Well, believe it or not, you said, Your Highness said, Chris, I wonder if the upcoming China, the US, and the European Space Agency joint mission are affected. Well, if you're talking about with the virus or anything like that, I mean, I'm reading things on here that, like, here's a perfect example. See if it'll do it. It says, Symposium 2020 postponed indefinitely due to coronavirus or the pandemic. What was there? Another one here? There was like two or three of these things that Northeast Astronomy Forum 2020 goes viral for the coronavirus countermeasure. So basically, what they're doing is they're doing it online as opposed to actually having the people go there. So I mean, it's here we go, getting sick in space. How would NASA handle an astronaut disease outbreak? So here we go, right? Dyson Sphere legacy. Freeman Dyson's wild alien megastructure idea will live forever. SpaceX's Starship will soon be made of different stuff. I'm going to give you guys this page here because it's got all kinds of space news on here, and you guys can check this out. But yeah, I mean, everything is affected some way, somehow, right? So, it is what it is. There's not a whole lot you can do about it, right? Billy Dripping, you said, hi, Chris. The moon rocks were the ballast to make up the takeoff weight for whatever tech they found. The return flight had to be calculated a precise weight just to guess. You're right about the weight. They had to make sure they only had so much coming back. Now, what I think is, keep in mind they had the lunar buggy. It was on the lander. They had all the equipment on that. They left all of that. How much did that all weigh? So how much could they have taken back? Think about that. So, back then when they left everything up on the moon, how much weight was that total? I mean, I think they even left a little nuclear power plant they had, the same one they have on the rover. Interestingly enough, same design anyway. But they left it all there. How much all did that weigh? So how much could they bring back? But yet they only showed like a little briefcase full of rocks. Think about that. Susan Ann, what's going on? Yeah, we're just at the end of this, but I'm glad you were able to jump in there and say good morning. Yay, caught you live. Hey there. Glad you were able to still pop in regardless, right? Yes, I do, William. Yeah, you're right. This is fun, but you had to return to work. Yeah, I mean, they just asked me to come in, probably just restock and maybe just do a couple little things in there. So, but yes, we are. Yeah, good time there. We are going to jump off this. And as always, guys, thank you for your support. It is appreciated. You guys know that. We do have more Mars coming up, and hopefully this won't continue to get so crazy so I can still get these videos out. I know the schools are locked down now, which is crazy. And we'll just see what happens. But again, guys, be proactive. Stay the hell away from groups of people. Try to keep your family with them. This way, you have less chance of it. We can get rid of this damn virus, right? So, yeah. So much love to everybody. Stay safe. Stay away from the damn virus. And we're going to try to do the same. Nacho, you just coming in now. Tough for me to attend. I pop in when I don't watch your videos. Keep up the great work. I appreciate that, Nacho, as always. But yeah, everybody stay safe. And just like I said, try to stay away from it. We're going to do the same. We got to go out and do our thing as well tomorrow, do some shopping, whatever. So we're going to try to do the same. But everybody stay safe. I don't want to see anybody get into this crap. But like I said, I did give you guys the link. So read them. You can keep them tabbed or, bookmark them, especially the one the CDCs, the real time. You can check those out and keep your family safe. And that's pretty much it. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys joining me on this Friday evening. It's awesome, as always. And you guys are just a great bunch of people. Love you guys all. And we'll see you guys soon. Astro Kid, thank you very much. I almost didn't even see that because I don't even have the screen. It's not even there. It just popped up on this one. That one it popped up on. The one I'm actually watching it. But the one I want to use the term transmitting the video, right? It didn't even show up until now. But I do appreciate the support. Much love to you as well. And like I said, you guys are awesome. I mean, it's a great bunch of people. I love doing this. I can't like miss it. I just love doing it. So again, thanks for all the support, whether it be monetary, the merch, just a, thumbs up saying I'm doing great work. You guys are awesome. I love the support. Can't ask for a better bunch of people. Anyways, I do have to get out of here. You guys have a safe weekend and try to stay safe. With that, peace, guys. We're out.